jumping out of cars and asking brown people for their papers. You're looking good.
Thank you very much.
You're showing me up here.
You're looking good yourself.
I appreciate it.
What is your solution here to Donald
Well,
Trump?
I think
participants making them and are not an endorsement of any position, program, religion, or political affiliation. DFG's Corner is for information, observations, and entertainment. I ask that you like, share, comment, and subscribe. Welcome, everybody. This is DFG, the man with the golden voice, the lady's choice, and of course, smooth as a Rolls Royce. I'm coming to you live from the 571, where I'm not really having fun, but I'm still getting things done. Today, I'm going to talk about a bunch of subjects, but one thing I want to cover is the president's treatment of the Somali population, Muslims in general. Before I go on, I can't do this without acknowledging my team. Um, I got with me Miss Apple. She is sweet as Snapple. So Apple, tell me what you're doing.
Good evening, everybody. I'm sitting here talking to my daughter and cooking. That's my
That's
life
what's
now.
that's what's up. I want to thank my usual other family, Miss Kim and Big Al. Big Al, I didn't get a chance to tell you Happy Founders Day for the great fraternity of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, founded at Cornell in 1906.
Wow. You know a lot of history that
Well,
DFG.
he's been doing that for close to 50 years, and
Yeah, there you
hey,
go.
I'm making my business to know.
Yeah.
But knowing, but knowing you have a great lineage, and y'all started something y'all might not have known that in 1906, but y'all know it now. Y'all started a big fire and
Yeah.
goodness for the and your go to high school and go to college initiatives are top of the line.
Thank you.
Also, I have online live for Las Vegas, Miss Nikki. She's doing her thing out there, hanging out. And also, I want to wish everybody those in Facebook land, in IG land, in Rumble land, also in TikTok land. I'm also live on that. And I'm also live on Facebook. So if y'all want to come on, just let me know and I'll bring you up. Today I want to talk, like I said, I wanted to talk about in general, how the president's treating Muslims right now, especially since that Afghan immigrant shot those two National Guard. My opinion, DFG's opinion, that was a setup, just like the president getting shot at and other things. That was a setup to keep his base riled. Now, one of the things that I say, and now that his eye is turned toward the Somali community in Minneapolis and St. Paul in general after they voted for him. Now he's saying they're garbage, their country's garbage. They steal, they rob, they do all of these things. However, don't he got some nerve to talk about being a criminal and stealing and stuff like that? But hey, I'm just saying. So I'm gonna hit you up with this little bit this quick video. Then I want to talk about it. Give me a second.
Hey everyone, welcome today. We need to talk about something really
Can you
important
guys hear
and
that?
often misunderstood: the history of attacks on black churches in the United States.
No,
Why
not
is this
really.
responsible? Let's set
Let
the
me
stage
let me
so
start
everyone
over. Hold
understands.
on. I do not know why it's not playing, but it should be.
Hey everyone, welcome
Well,
today.
if y'all
We need to talk about
just
something
read the
really important
words.
and often
It says
misunderstood: the
everything.
history of attacks on black churches in the
And
United States.
basically, what I
Why
was
is this
talking about
responsible?
in here is
By the way,
the
let's set the
history of
stage so
attacks on
everyone
black
understands.
churches and
Muslims
who's
and
actually
attacks on black
responsible.
churches in the United States
One of the
is something
things
we
that
need to
I
answer
that I
honestly.
say
So,
is
who's responsible?
with
The historical record
they're
shows
complaining
that
about Muslims taking over Sharia
Muslims
law,
were the
etc.
dominant
But I'm
group
gonna
in
ask
America
y'all,
dwelling in the
When has a Muslim burnt down a black church? When has a Muslim gone into a black neighborhood and shot it up? When has a Muslim threw bombs at a church at a black church in the United States? If y'all could tell me, I pay money for that. But we understand that churches have been burned, black churches especially, um, from slavery times. The first time it was recorded, I don't know if anybody knows about Denmark Vesey. He ran a slave revolt back in the 1700s. When they caught him and hanged him, they burned down the AME church, one of the second AME church, in it that was built after the one in Philadelphia. Um, it was burnt. It was burnt down because they didn't want to. They were saying that they were getting too much freedom and they were doing too many things. Up until even the 2000s, when churches in the South were burned, and it was more than likely from white supremacists. You had the Dylan Roof incident. You had a lot, and as a black person, as an American black person, foundational black American, I may not be Islamic or Muslim. However, I don't have a problem with them because they ain't bothering me. They ain't bothering my people. They not even really bothering the majority in this country. So I don't know why they keep pushing that. They need to if they want to get religious organizations, they need to talk about the 3K organization or Aryan Nation or the Proud Boys and stuff like that. Those are the ones they need to talk about terrorists because those are the ones that are doing most of the terrorist stuff. What do you think, Big Al?
I I agree with you wholeheartedly. First of all, on the setup for that guy who shot the two National Guard. But this guy is out of control, 47. And I'm just thinking about how he's lashing out at the Somalis, what he said about the Haitians when he was running, that they were eating the dogs and cats. And then he elevated to saying they were eating all the
Right.
ducks. And and look at what he's doing in Venezuela. I mean, those are actually war crimes. And anybody that's not blonde haired and blue eyed, he takes offense to them. And I, for the life of me, I still have friends that I'm feeding with the long stem spoon who are still supporting that guy. And
Yeah, they won't do it. He can look, Big Al. He said it himself. He could shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue. He won't lose
yeah,
support.
yeah. hmm The dude is a damn pedophile. And I'm still waiting for them Epstein files. And you can bet that most of the stuff that has his name on it is going to be blacked out, and that pedophile will still walk free.
Oh, I agree. 100%.
Yeah,
100%. They a lot of times we don't, we look at it and it's not, we know it's wrong and they know it's wrong, but they don't care because that's their guy. And their guy is who they want in office. Miss Kim, what do you think?
Um, I'm not really much on what y'all talking about because I've been kind of out of the loop of it. So I'm just gonna be listening tonight.
Okay. What about you, Apple?
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that.
From the president getting on Muslims in general, Somalis in particular right now. What do you think? What do you think? Because I was saying earlier that why isn't he talking about the Triple K, or he's talking about or talking about the Proud Boys or Aryan Nation or stuff like that, or even the Can't See Party. I can't say the N word on here, and not the black N word, the other N word.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The Yahtzees, I get it.
Yeah.
Why are the question is, why are we surprised? I mean,
Oh,
he's
well,
been going after the Muslims and brown people since his first term.
yeah, but they voted for him though.
Of course they did, because it's ignorance. Because I know a lot of people that voted for him because he gave them, quote unquote, $2,000 during the pandemic, which we all know that's false. But people were holding on to that in the hopes of that, they were gonna get money. And then some of them still have in their mind that he can tell a difference between a quote unquote good immigrant and a bad immigrant. They all the same to
Yeah,
him.
yeah,
If they're
but that
not the right skin tone according to him, or from the right countries,
yes.
they're all bad. So I'm not surprised that he's going after them again. That's what gets that rhetoric gets his base riled up. They're not particularly happy with him now. So he has to hit the chords that he knows will get him back in their good graces. And that's, xenophobia, racism, and all of that.
Oh yeah. Oh, I agree 100%. I kind of laugh because a lot of them don't really see it like that. They're saying he's getting rid of the bad elements in the country, but what they're not saying is that the biggest demographic of people commit the most crimes, regardless. And it ain't the Muslims. It ain't black. I'll just leave it at that. And and they're talking about, that they were talking about in the Minnesota case with the Somalis. They say Somalis commit 80% of the crimes, which is highly untrue. But they also saying, well, they're robbing the government, but they ain't got no smoke for Mr. Brett Favre down there in Mississippi, $5 million for welfare money to rehab a gym on his old campus so his daughter can play in a nice stadium.
Well, he's going after the Somalis because of Ilhan and Omar. I don't know if I pronounced her name,
Yeah,
incorrectly or not.
you got
Yeah,
it right.
right. Because she's
But
standing up for herself against him. Now it's all Somalis. So of
yeah,
course,
but
he's going to make them a target.
yeah, but now the Somalis are turned into foundational Black Americas. It is like, why aren't y'all helping us? But when y'all voted for the guy, and then y'all be like, me no black,
That's
and
definitely the truth. That they do believe in that they're
it's
not
like,
black.
yeah, me no black, and then now that they getting hemmed up, they say, where are my brothers and sisters? Why are they not helping me? I'm being facetious, but y'all know what I mean. But that's, overall, that's a big thing to, that's something to walk with, because we saw think about this. We saw it with the Venezuelans, we saw it with the Cubans, we saw it with the Mexicans. We saw how everybody else is they're cutting off immigration for everybody except for white Africans, the Afrikaners. So why are people mad because they took away the TPS situation from the Haitians, and those from Muslim countries, with the exception of Saudi Arabia, because they kind of line his pockets. But it's just how we why do they expect us to come and rescue them? The Asians, why they expect us to stand on their lines when they gave us their rear ends to kiss?
Because we always do. We are always the first to rally. We're always the first to, come in and save and put our lives on the line for other people. That's why when it was said, once he got back into office, we're resting. I'm so
Hmm.
glad that most of our people are doing that because I know I'm one of them.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You want to add anything, Big Al?
I think you all are spot on. I just hope that we can turn things around in the midterm elections and then get this clown out of office because he's an embarrassment. It's obvious that he's Putin's main squeeze, and you just watch all the stuff that he talks. Well, I'm gonna be tough on Putin, and I'm gonna give him 95 days to do this. And 95 days come and go. Well, Zelensky needs to uh, accept Putin's peace agreement. I mean, it's just back and forth. I want to throw up every time I see him on TV, and I just sit there and watch him sleep in all these live uh, forums, and I don't hear nobody from the right calling them out. I mean, they were always
They're
on
not gonna do
President.
that.
Yeah, I know. But
Well, no, no. I say MG6B, MGT6B. She started the Yap back, but we know that's an act.
yeah, yeah. Well, Jasmine Crockett is running for a Senate seat in Texas, so I'm going to be supporting her. Uh, I mean, I love that sister for speaking out and calling a spade a spade. I like what Devin Newsom is doing, calling him out and trolling him. But it's just, I don't know, it's mind boggling. And the only thing that I can fathom that gives me any constellation is the fact that this guy has got to be the Antichrist. I mean, everything in Revelation, everything that you read scripturally points to him as the Antichrist. And so that's the thing that keeps me going. So I hope to see the rapture in my time so I can get caught up and get to heaven and be away from this mess. But uh, it's they're just not words to describe what I'm feeling right now and watching the state of America.
Oh yeah, because no, I agree. I agree with you, Big Al. Um, here's my take on the whole thing. We are resting, and we're not asleep, but we're resting. When we need to do what we need to do, we can get together and do that because history has shown that's what we've done. However, a lot of other people aren't willing to do for themselves, and then they trying to come back to us. And like I said, we resting, so it ain't happening. And we have to do what we gotta do to maintain our sanity because we didn't vote for this, but we still gotta live through it. And even now, even his hardcore people are starting to turn because they realize that what we've been trying to tell them, instead of saying that we're right, they're saying, well, he's not who we thought he was, even though he was who we thought he was. Because everything he said, everything bad that he said what he was going to do, guess what? He did it.
Yeah.
Every bad thing. It doesn't, even with the wall, even with the wall in his first term, he got part of it done. He even, he's ramping up getting rid of immigrants, legal, illegal, he don't care. They're talking about denaturalizing folks. They're saying if right now going to the Supreme Court, they're looking at the tenets of the 14th Amendment and birthright citizenship. If the Supreme Court says that the president can decide who's a citizen or not, that takes away a lot of that gives him a bigger power than anything. Because then if you vote against him, guess what? You're not a citizen. Then you wind up getting deported to somewhere you've never been. And I just pray that they're not that suicidal country wise. But knowing how these things going, I'm not gonna bet against it. I won't bet against it. And that's sad. That's sad. One thing I also want to talk about is, like I said, with the Somalis and how, they're getting it, but they want to they want us to help, and it's like, why? You need to do it for yourself. You were for yourself when you're trying to get stuff, because you don't say you're black, you're Somali, which to them it really don't make a difference. But I'd go further. What group, Apple, what group do you think is next?
I'm sorry, you said what group? What? I didn't hear
What
the
group you
last
think
one.
is next that he's going to go after?
I think it's gonna be the Asians again, the East Asians this time. I mean,
Okay.
well, not specifically China, but I'm thinking like all of them. Um,
Yeah, but
because he says going to
they do
keep
want Japanese.
right. I mean, he went through everybody, or maybe it'll be the South Asians. Because I think Usha is on her way out because they're trying to get Erica and JD together. So maybe they're gonna do the
Yeah,
South
but she's
Asian.
not dressed like a couch. He's not a couch, so I don't she's not a couch, so I don't know what she's gonna try to do. But yeah, they've already started the attack on Indians, Bengalis, um, Pakistanis, Afghans. So they're trying to get rid of all of them next. And then what do you think, Big Al? Who you think is after the Somalis?
There's not a large Ghana presence here. So I think it's going to be the Ghanaians.
Not the
He's
Nigerians.
on Nigeria. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Nigeria has a bigger presence. So I think Nigeria.
And I just read an article today, Big Al, regarding that they just denaturalized a former Marine who was accused. I don't know if he was discharged from the Marines for soliciting a 14-year-old. And he had immigrated in 2011 and enlisted in the Marines in 2013. And by 2017, he at 2017 he had gotten discharged, and now they telling him to get his behind out. We don't care if you served in the Marines.
Wow, that's cold-blooded.
But I mean, that's it. And I'm not gonna say they were right in doing that. But if you're gonna kick somebody out, that's probably a good reason why. That's probably a good reason why, in my opinion. I'm not gonna say 100%, but you know, yeah, if you touch children, or you close to touching children, you need to be gone. You can't be around. You shouldn't be around be around people. But that's
Well,
just my personal opinion, and not the opinion of the station.
yeah, I agree. But if the POTUS, and I'm sure if those Epstein files were released without any distracted comments or without blotting out a lot of the content, you'll find that you got the guy sitting in the White House who's been doing that. I mean, there are pictures all around, and there are clips of him saying that if his daughter Ivanka wasn't his daughter, he'd be dating her. I mean, look at some of the hugs and kisses that he gives her. Look at some of the photos of these young girls that he's been caught with them sitting on his knee and hugging them and doing stuff that are inappropriate for an old white man or any man, period. But this guy keeps getting away with it. So he's got to be the Antichrist.
But that is the default, the most likely demographic to touch children inappropriately.
Yeah.
But overall, you know, it's one of those things that we try to get right, but dealing with folks, dealing with folks that don't want to act right or be right, they're not gonna do it right. Miss Sum Sum, how are you doing today? Thank you for coming on.
Hey everybody, happy holidays.
Hey, that's what I'm talking about. You did your Christmas shopping?
Negative.
That's all right. Neither have I. So today we're talking about Muslims, Muslims and the black community. One of the things, they're getting at Muslims in general, Somalis in particular, and we were just talking about how now they want people in Dearborn, Michigan and Minneapolis, St. Paul want help from us foundationals, and we're resting. It's like, do you think we should protest in support of them? Even though they're like, me no black, me no black.
Oh wow. That's a good one. It just all leads back to what my dad used to say. A hard head makes a soft behind. You
This is
don't listen,
true.
you gotta listen, you gotta, if if you're not for me, you're against me. Simple as that. Black folk from as long as I can remember, have always bent over. They've always tried to be the bigger person. They've always, we're always the ones that have to accommodate. We've always been the ones to accommodate. If it wasn't taken from us, we've had to, in the workplace, in the environment, everything. I mean, we've always had to, you know, when they go low, we go high. And, and there is a beauty and stuff in that because, we know the hardships, we know the struggle, we know how ugly and nasty the world could be. We've been through it all. They've done medical experiments on us. I mean, we could go into history. It's there. Nothing made up. I
Right.
think I'm a little torn with that. I have to think about that a little bit more because part of me wants to uh keep sitting back and watching. No one really has, well, you got some good people out there, but nobody has really stood up and helped us over time. We've always been the ones that had to go out and form certain organizations that fight for our rights. And we've always had to look out for ourselves business wise. A lot of doors get shut. We got to create our own businesses. So there is a lot of power that we have. And I'm I'm very torn because the godly thing to do and the right thing to do would be to keep fighting for your fellow man, even when, you know what I mean, when they don't do that for you. You have to keep going and try to follow the word the best you can. And then the other part of me is like, um we don't need no water. Let them let it burn. As and
Yeah,
burn and burn and burn. And
yeah,
because
that's true.
what you going to do today is mess around and find out. So,
Agreed.
nobody understands our pain but us, because that's something that we've gone through. But now it looks like people are starting to get a little taste of what we've been going through. And so now maybe they have to walk that walk to be a little bit more compassionate. Like I don't know what else to say about it. You gotta some people gotta be almost on death's door to turn their life around. So we'll see.
It's
I don't know.
true.
I'm still debating on that.
No, I mean, no, that's okay. I mean, that's okay. I mean, that's, I agree with that. And, it's one of those things that we talked about it a little earlier about, they want us to break our backs, but they won't lift a finger to help us. Chocolate Pearl, my favorite girl. What's up, girl? How you doing?
Hey, y'all. I'm sorry I'm late. It's Christmas time. It's that choir rehearsal. We're down to the wire, so we got 3 more rehearsals left. But I'm doing good. I'm sorry. I've been MIA, but I'm slightly back. I don't know what the
Oh, I
topic
thought you was
is,
in
but
JAX.
I am in Jackson.
You said you just said you was MIA.
Ah, you so silly. Not that MIA. But I don't. What's the topic going on? Because it sounds like I know what you're talking about how the
Well,
United States is surviving the issues at hand, and now is affecting the people who voted for certain persons in the White House.
yeah,
Am I correct?
yeah,
Just for
yeah,
what Summer
and
said, I had a feeling that's what it was, and she is so right. We're gonna have to sit here and wait because we have this tendency of people not knowing or understanding till they experience it themselves. Everybody's from Missouri until they
oh
get
yeah,
there. You know what I'm
oh
saying? Until they
yeah,
get there, and you have to be a show me state. And so the United States is a show me state at this particular point because we've gone through the struggle as African Americans or brown and black and brown people who had to struggle and had to make ways out of no ways. And then we said this in multiple shows before in regards to survival and surviving what's currently going on in the United States, and for our leader to continually to sit there and say that there's nothing wrong, there's nothing going on, and if it is, it's the Democrats' fault type situation when actually he is the one who's ruining it. I think they need to finally stand up and say, look, you're destroying instead of making it better. You're destroying it, and then you're giving somebody else the blame of what you're doing. And then as soon as somebody praises you, you like them until they disregard you. Once anybody disregards him, he don't like anybody, and he got to constantly chastise or try to play the dozens or somebody that don't have nothing to do with anything but ask you the question of them doing their jobs. However, we are still, as I stated before, we have made life out of nothing. And we will continue to make life out of nothing because we know how to survive. And the people who have voted for him do not know how to survive in this here situation. I don't know if I
Right.
said enough. I don't know if I said too much, but I felt I need
No,
to get that part out. I'm glad I did. Thank you,
no,
Summer, for
no, no. You
summing it
good.
up.
You are very good. We're good with that. Hey, the more the merrier. But also, it's one of those things that everybody's happy until it affects them, and then
Exactly.
now a lot of his voters that are not melanated are starting to see that his policies ain't doing them any type of good.
Right. It's not even working. It's not even something to put into actions because there's really nothing to put in action. Only thing he wanted to do was destroy whatever the Democrats has created. That's all he wanted to do. But he don't realize that when you destroy something, you have to build something. And if you don't have no plans to build, which you don't even have a foundation. He doesn't have a
Yeah,
foundation to even start. So how can you destroy something but have nothing to put in its place? But you constantly want us to continuously pay our taxes so we can make your people richer. And guess what? Even if you get rid of a bunch of people, or if you eliminate a lot of situations to where it's going to make us either homeless or more poor than we are, who's going to work for you? Who's going to make you richer? Because you can't get any more money from us because we won't have it. So you're going to have to keep going back and forth to your friends, and y'all just going to be passing it over. You're going to be, how they used to say, take from Peter to pay Paul. But y'all just going to, instead of doing that,
rob
y'all,
Peter to pay Paul.
yeah, there you go. Rob Peter to pay Paul. You won't have Peter anymore to rob because he ain't going to have nothing.
This is true. You
He's
can't
not
get
going to have
blood from a
anything.
stone.
That's right. So, I'm glad you said that. I remember when I used to work collections and somebody told me, well, you can't get blood out of turnip. I said, well, we didn't give the money to the turnip. We gave it to you and you got blood, so bleed.
You
You
off
know,
the
but
chain, chocolate pearl.
but you know what I'm saying? It's just that he needs to see that instead of you constantly want to blame somebody from the past that had nothing to do with it. And if you have any type of common sense, you don't even have to be smart, just a little bit of common sense to realize that what he's saying is nothing but bull. It's a total fabrication, and he consistently want to blame someone else instead of you setting situation that you created.
But he did say smart people don't like him.
Exactly.
and, and if you look on the screen, it says, he says, I love the poorly educated.
Yeah,
So
because he is
if he
poorly
loves you,
educated.
yeah. I was about to say, if he don't like you, that means you have a little high, slightly higher IQ than a turnip. Because
Exactly.
to call his followers dumb as a box of rocks is to insult the rocks.
And guess what? And they smile about it. They take it and
Mhm.
smile about it. They're constantly saying that, oh, he's not doing anything wrong. He's helping us. He's there for us. No, he's not. Look at Marjorie Taylor Greene. Also look at I don't know what his rank is. The one that was it uh
Senator Mark Kelly from Arizona.
yeah, what no, the military guy who pressed the button to kill the people in the boat.
Oh, you talking about the admiral out of Southcom?
Yeah, I think that's who it was. He said that now he's threatening because he won't keep his mouth shut about what happened. Now he's threatening to kill him. If he can't get his
Yeah,
way and people to follow him, he wants to eliminate them. And he verbally states it. And then turn
yeah,
around and
that's
say, no,
true.
that was AI. No, it wasn't. It wasn't AI. It was you.
But you're too smart for his type of people.
Yeah, exactly. And I didn't
You
even
see,
finish college.
you
See,
too
but
smart for his type of people. Go ahead.
no, it's just crazy because it's just proving the point. When you bring up Marjorie Taylor Greene, it's just proving the point. A lot of these Republicans are scared of him. They don't want to go against him because of the backlash and the threats and everything that will come behind it. She, for whatever reason, got a backbone and is standing on her own. She's bowing out, she's getting out, but she made it a
Leaving on
point.
her terms, right?
Yeah, she's leaving on her turn. But now look at everything that she's going through. And I know these Republicans are sitting back and they like, oh my God, that she's getting death threats. All his people is coming against her, calling her a traitor, like all of this stuff. And they don't want none of that. They just want to be behind the scenes and quiet and don't, you know what I mean? But they don't like him. But this
Yeah,
is
but
what
she even said
happened.
that. She even said
Yes.
that. She said that they talk behind his back, and but in front of him and in front of the screen, they praising him. But that's just two faced.
It
One
is.
minute you saying another, but behind his back you're saying something totally different. Y'all need to be strong people. I don't know who in the hell voted them in, because if you ain't got a backbone to stand up for your people, you don't need to be in that position. They
Yes,
voted,
you
they
agree,
voted
but
you in to do your job, not to kiss up. I ain't never seen in any of those descriptions of the job description says you need to kiss butt constantly so we can get absolutely nothing. Because that's what they're doing. They kissing butt for nothing.
wow. Yeah.
That's the American way.
It is.
It's,
It
it's
is.
ridiculous. I bust my tail every day to just make ends meet, and I barely make that. You know, I just can't understand that you're taking away what I'm working hard for. I'm not even rich. I'm not sitting back and watching other people make money for me. I have to be one of those ones making money for somebody else, just so I can get a little percentage of it so I can survive. And then y'all turning this world upside down. You're talking about the now you realizing the farmers are in trouble because guess what? They after you now. Now you
Yeah.
want to bail
And
them out?
he giving them our money though. He giving them our
Exactly. They give them our money. One reporter said to Carolyn, I don't know if it was AI or nothing, but he said something about the tariffs, and he says that he has to pay tariffs. I guess he has a company where he has to pay tariffs, and they're too high. This is not coming out of the people who are exporting it into the country, importing it into the country. They're the ones who's receiving it is the one that's. But Carolyn didn't want to face the fact that yeah, your boss is a butthead and don't know nothing, just like you do. I mean, if I could say the things I really want to say on this show, it'd be y'all would probably censor me of what I really want to say.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, we'll
y'all just
probably
take
get
the time and think
demonetized
about
for
that.
that.
Yeah, could y'all take the time and think about what I really want to say, because I want to know how much money she gets, and do she run out of mouthwash? Because I don't understand. I don't understand. I'm sorry, I got a little riled up. I apologize.
That's okay. That is
No,
okay.
and that is the truth. And see, and that's why I'm thinking about now. All of this to me had to happen. It had to, because Camilla, she sat there and said, if you all elect him, this is what's going to happen.
Yep,
And they went
exactly.
against her anyway. She broke everything down. She said, this, you all are going to suffer. This is what's going to happen. And see, they don't listen. They thought they had knew it all. So when people are like that and they think they know it all, you can't tell them nothing. A hard head makes a soft behind, and they got to learn. So
Yeah.
all of this had to happen for them to realize now. You got all these nationalities that are suffering in different ways. You got all of these farmers, all of these people that was for him. Now all of these people are suffering, and all of this had to happen because they did not listen. They think they knew. When somebody's breaking something down to you that is more educated, more qualified, and you're still going against that, then you
Yeah,
have to
it's
suffer.
because oh, but she had a weird laugh. That's what it is. That's their excuse. She had a weird laugh. I didn't trust her laugh. And she's a black woman. Is she black today? Is she South Asian today? What is she? I don't trust her. She doesn't know anything. She has no experience. Now, being that she was a lifelong politician, she had no experience. He just jumped into the presidency without any prior experience, but he's the best president they ever seen in their lives. They kill me, I tell you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
but he's a good
he's the
businessman,
best
but he
president
can't
of blowing up a
go.
country.
It's ridiculous. I don't. You know what? These backwoods hillbillies get on my last nerve. Okay, I am proud to be a New Yorker. I will be a northern southern to the rest of my life. But guess what? That northern stays abroad. And I just can't understand how backwards you can be. And the knowledge that you do not have is ridiculous. I think you should take a true IQ test and not the cognitive test that he claimed he take to before you vote so you know what the heck you're talking about. I may not watch the news now, I do a lot, but before I didn't watch the news a lot. But I still knew what was going on in the world, and I knew how to research stuff. There was once upon a time a library. There was once upon a time a newspaper. You know what I'm saying? There was things that you can
Yeah,
use to research the facts and the truth. And for them to disregard the laws of this land, because they any laws they just disregard, and it's nothing for them. But they sure gonna tell somebody if somebody else did something. Like for instance, that black boy that they finally found and said that he had put those bombs around, right? Okay, so he didn't blow anybody up. It was just the bombs. Y'all found them. But the people who actually killed someone, you let them go. You pardon them. But y'all gonna bury this young black boy. Y'all gonna bury him. And for the fact that he's black
but
and no other
that's what
reason.
it is, though.
And no other reason.
This is true.
And he didn't
This
actually
is,
kill anybody. The bombs didn't even go off. None of that.
but he's MAGA though, so he get what he get.
Well, it don't make a difference. But guess what? Because he's black, they disregarding the fact that he's MAGA.
I
Because he's
know, I
black.
know, I know. So
And
they,
them same
so
ones that he let go committed a crime again. But they okay, right?
I
They still good. They still better than that boy.
they good because they got the complexion for the protection.
Yeah.
They definitely got the complexion for the protection. That's just how it is. But it's like you said, it's odd in how some people look at that because they're talking about law and order, but they got a criminal in office and a person who's found guilty of felonies, adjudicated to be a habitual assayer, um, a fraudster. He can't even his family cannot run a charity in New York ever again. That's saying a lot.
Yeah, that is a
That
whole
is
lot.
that is saying that is saying a lot. But we as the 92 and the 79, we knew what he was about. We kind of knew the story, and in my opinion, a lot of other people who are they may be not racist, but they're not anti-racist, and that's the difference. They're okay with the guy in office as long as they're suffering less than foundational Black Americans and others. So that, all of that is how that's going. That's how that's going. So we're trying to figure out how do we fit in this new, well, old slash new way, because they want to take it back to the 1890s when they can do whatever they want with impunity. And, you know, we kind of don't want that. We're a little bit more evolved than we were back then. But I just want everybody to understand that just because you wear my just because you wear my color don't mean that you are my brother
We are smarter,
or sister.
huh?
Um, you know, I like yeah, I like people. I like people. I don't like idiots. And if you vote for him, I'm just gonna say you ain't the sharpest tool in the shed. And I don't respect that because, I really do not like stupidity. And that's basically what you're doing if you support him. Um, it's okay if you supported him in the past and then later found out I'm not going to trust you, but I'm all right with you because something in you knew was cool with, and the racism and sexism wasn't a deal killer, if I'm making sense. So that tells me that you don't care about me. So that's why I can't really mess with you like that. But I'm gonna cut this show short. Um, I just ask that you pray for my middle son Daniel. He's got a couple of issues, and we're just dealing with something right now. I don't want to talk about it until we actually get it fixed. I want to thank everybody for coming on, whether you're on YouTube, um, TikTok, Facebook, all the socials that I'm on. And before I go, Apple, you have anything before we go?
No, I'm just gonna say good night. This was a great show, and I'm glad I got a chance to come on. I know I've been absent for the past couple of weeks. This was phenomenal. I'm sorry, I can't even get it out. It was a great show, and I hope everyone takes what happened as with a grain of salt, because it's actually a distraction that he's implementing and his team is implementing, so we can kind of like forget about what's actually going on. And I hope people see
Yeah,
it. But common sense is not as common as we like to believe. So
agreed. Agreed. Chocolate Pearl.
I want to piggyback on what Apple said. You know, there's a distraction. However, it's a distraction till we open up our refrigerator, or we open up our wallets to put gas in our car, or when we open up, our wallets to go to the store and can't afford, you know, more than five things under $200 type thing. So we need to not be distracted and stay focused and be very mindful of what really is going on. But this is a great show. I'm glad I was able to hop on. And like Apple said, I know I've been missing, but this is that season where y'all know I sing on the choir and we get ready to have a choir concert. And so I've been absent, but I try to get on as soon as possible. Thank y'all for always being there for us, even when we're not there. Al. Y'all have a good
Appreciate
evening.
appreciate, as always, appreciate Miss Kim, Big Al, and Some for always holding us down when I am on. And the last show of the year is probably going to be next week, next Tuesday, and then I'll pick it back up in January. I want everybody to know that DFG's Corner every Tuesday night, 8:30, unless I say not. And check my socials, like, share, subscribe, tell a friend. The Corner Emporium is back again. If you if you don't if you don't find yourself looking bad, just look in the mirror and you'll not be sad. Also, if you can't laugh at yourself, find somebody else to laugh at. And we're gonna close it out right now. And let me bring up my last little show, and then we are out. Thanks for watching. This is the man with the golden voice, the lady's choice, and of course, smooth as a Rolls Royce, saying, "Never make love by the garden gate. Though love is blind, the neighbors ain't."